Welcome back to Professional Presentations offered by Faver. Last time we were talking about tips for broadcast quality performances, and today we're talking about tips to connect with your audience. And so let's get started. The first thing I can tell you right off the top is amateurs versus professionals. You see, amateurs practice until they get it right, and professionals practice until they cannot get it wrong. And that essentially is what you're looking for when you want to connect with your audience and provide a professional experience when you're presenting. So we highly encourage that you rehearse, that you practice, and that you maybe even invite a member of your networking group or a business associate, a business partner. They don't even need to be in the industry, just someone who can listen to your presentation, because it'll let you know whether or not you're actually communicating and connecting with your audience. If the information that you're sharing to the person who you're rehearsing with is kind of glossed over and they have no idea what you're talking about, then it's time to reconsider what your presentation looks like and where to go next, so that you can have a professional presentation that connects with your target audience. And keep in mind that you want to have inspiration first, then information. You see, you have to get their attention first. Once you have their attention, then you can move on to sharing the information, because now they're listening. And that old adage about tell them, that you tell them what you're going to tell them, then you tell them. And then you tell them what you told them. And it's a good plan, but it's also, while tried and true, it's trite. I have a preferred manner in which I refer to a beginning, a middle, and a segue. So you're going to tell them some information, you're going to give them the meat of the matter in the middle, and instead of wrapping it up and putting a bow on it and saying, thank you very much, we're done, you're going to offer this segue that allows you as the presenter to continue the conversation with your audience. You can have a text here on the screen, and it gives the audience your text number. And if they'll text you, either it's a code word or the name of the presentation or whatever you'd like, depending on how fun you want to make it. And then when they text you their email address, or however you like to communicate the additional information, you can send them this PowerPoint presentation that you just shared with your audience, or you might add them to your list of additional information because you want to get what I refer to as my tips. You have networking tips, you have wedding tips, whatever your industry is, you have information that will help them to make good choices when selecting the services that you provide or others that are presenting. Okay, and this concept actually is the segue idea, because it allows you to continue the conversation with your audience, to further connect with them. It allows you to do follow-up, additional sales, if there's something that you have to sell. A lot of times when you're presenting, they ask you not to sell from stage or not to sell during your presentation. But if you share with them some information and they want more, then by all means, make the connection, and then you have the segue that leads to the next step. Here are some presenting options or some presentation options, the things that will allow your presentation to stand out or be different than everyone else's. For example, if this is your first time presenting to the group, then by all means, be a braggart and talk about you and what you do, because they need to know that. They need to get introduced to what it is that you bring to the party. But if this is your second time presenting to the group and the audience has not changed much since the last time that you presented, then do something different, say something different, or talk about what makes you different. Invite a satisfied customer, somebody who is expressive like me, perhaps, somebody outgoing that can actually say, oh my God, I used Jane's service. She was fabulous. She was the best thing I ever did. I am so happy that I used them. And she shares the experience that she had with your service. Then you don't have to brag, because Jane is going to do it for you. Pardon me, the customer that you bring, the satisfied customer, the outgoing individual, that person is going to sing your praises so you don't have to. And then you can open the floor up for some Q&A afterwards, and it's a win-win. This type of third-party endorsement is what will allow you to shine without you personally bragging about who you are and what you do. So it's a win-win for your previous client because you've invited them to lunch or to, get something or do something for you. And in return, it benefits your audience that's introduced to who you are and what you do. This next idea is what I refer to as show and tell. And show and tell is this concept that you have something in your business, in your industry, that you can bring to the party, that you can bring to the meeting. And it allows you to share that with them so that they get a live example of who you are and what you do. If you happen to be in the entertainment industry or the event industry, there are lots of show and tells. Caterers can cater the event. DJs can provide, music or MC services or possibly audio video where you have the projector and the screen and the sound and the whole thing. And it's a perfect example to say, without bragging, this is what I do. And you don't need to be in the event industry to show and tell. Sometimes it's not an actual physical item that you bring to the room. Sometimes it's something a little bit more abstract or virtual. It depends on the service that you provide. Promotional product people, they have plenty of things to show and tell. One of my favorite stories about a promotional person is when they present this week, or they get up and do their 30-second elevator speech and they say, I created these pens for our member in the group, Joe, and there are a few extra, so everybody gets a pen today. And so that introduces Joe, who purchased the product, who's a member of the group. It introduces the promotional product that the service provides. And then next week, you get to Segway. You get to continue the story. And you show up and you say, Betty ordered these pads of paper. And I realized that last week when I gave you pens, you had nothing to write on. So when the presenter speaks, and I'm certain that they're going to be noteworthy, now you not only have the pen from Joe, but now you have pads from Betty that you can write notes on. And so it continues the story. It's a running theme. There are all kinds of different things that you can do without saying, this is who I am. But at the same time, introducing your services. Or maybe because you've presented to the group a couple of times, you're going to do some kind of a training that you want to teach the group something about business that is working successfully in your business, something that you're passionate about. It might be networking, marketing, social media. Maybe you're hot to trot about your CRM or email campaigns or copy that you're using that's allowing you to stay connected with your audience. A whole myriad of different things that you can do that allows you to be top of mind with your group to present to them without necessarily saying, hey, remember me, I'm that great, fill in the blank, okay? Or you can turn the tables. What a great idea. Turn the tables, and instead of talking about you, you're going to talk about another member in the group. And you're going to talk about how great their service is, that you use their service and that you really enjoyed it, and you should hire them too. Again, it's that third-party endorsement. Or even better, I referred John to my client. And John did such a bang-up job that my client sent me this wonderful thank you letter for me introducing her to John. It's a win-win all the way around because you now look like a rock star to your client and you've third-party endorsed John. These are just a couple of ideas that can help you to stay in the professional presentation mode for your audience. Next time, we'll talk about 5 tips on how to improve who attends your events. And we look forward to seeing you then and there. Thanks.